Okay.
Okay, I think we are live. We are on air. This is Jennifer Neerens with the Academy of Holistic Healing, and joining me is my dear friend, Michaela Kennedy with
Hi.
StartingYourOwnBusiness.com.
You're in business, and I got to start by putting my name down below.
Oh, okay. Well, we've both had a really intense and amazing week, and um, kind of going to do a check-in first off before we jump into any additional content and kind of
Hey,
see
you
where
know
it
what?
goes.
After all that talk about interrupting you, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I just
Okay.
realized that I have been doing I think when we first began 10 weeks ago or longer, I said starting your own business, but in fact, I think I may have given the wrong link because it's actually startingmyownbusiness.org.
Oh, how funny. I just did a .com for you.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
I
you
did
spoke it?
.com.
You didn't actually buy it for me.
No, no, no. I introduced you as.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
Anyway, hi, Michaela Kennedy here with startingmyownbusiness.org. Yay! So anyway, that was my quick interrupt. We were laughing about it because I was just asking Jennifer if I do interrupt too much, and there I go, right out of the gate. I went ahead and interrupted you.
Well, interestingly enough, my response was, there are times when we are in conversation where I will be saying something and it will spark an idea in her, and then she will speak her piece, and it's a back and forth popcorn effect, and that's the way conversations go. There haven't been very many times that I feel like I am being cut off, which to me is what an interruption is, just like a pattern interrupt, where someone is thinking one way and you do something to shock them out of it so that they can then stop and turn and look at it from a different direction. I can't think of any time that it's ever really felt like that. And I can,
Good. That's wonderful. I
yeah, I
just
can
think that we
see,
play well together.
I do
We,
too.
I think when we're together, we probably finish each other's sentences too.
I'm fairly certain of that. And I can see where, if people come in with the assumption or the preconceived notion that this is going to be a regimented teaching where I say my piece, then you say your piece, then I say my piece, they will view it as possibly we interrupting each other. But the biggest thing about what we bring is the conversation style, because both of us are highly intuitive, both of us are very tuned into the flow of things, and we also have a vast amount of knowledge. And even though we may be talking about a limiting mindset in this area, the information will trigger other information in this area, which is pertinent to this. And sometimes we'll leave out the bridge, but a lot of times we'll provide the bridge. And it is conversation. It is creating a sacred space for us to talk, to share, to encourage, and to push each other and to push our audience. And I know that
Absolutely.
there are some people that are not comfortable with our style of presenting, and that's great. You may want to look at why you're not comfortable with the way we present. It may be because it's causing you to step outside your box. It may be because it's triggering some things in you that maybe need some attention. Maybe we just don't float your boat. I don't, that's great. Awesome. Find your boat. Find your flow. And if it's not here, great. Blessings to you, and may you go and conquer the world in your own river of life. Um, I'm not going to make any apologies for what we do or how we do it, because I have gotten so much feedback from people with specific questions. These are things that I need help with. Can you help me?
Mhm.
And just going back to the basics, and then having them say, "Oh God, that was great. Thank you. That shifted it for me. Thank you. What's your next class? How can I be a part of it?" That's it. That's
Absolutely. Oh gosh, Jennifer, I just love you so much. You have got so well. It is. It's about finding your tribe,
yes.
and it's really funny because
I just coughed. Are you still there? Hello?
Uh-oh.
I lost you.
Uh-oh, you did. You lost me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay, we're back. Yay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, because oh, there you are. Sorry. Sorry, it was a that's very funny though when things like that happen. It just brings you right back into alignment, and you realize that maybe there was a reason for a disconnect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's honoring things. It's finding that everything, yes, absolutely does have a cosmic significance.
Yes, everything. And, and that doesn't mean spend a bunch of time trying to figure it all out. Just understand there's no mistakes.
Right.
And be open to hearing what the message is. You don't have to go in search of it. Trust me, it'll track you down when you need to know. Just be open to hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's as I was just saying a moment ago, there was a friend of mine who was in a big panic about how she had to buy a new privacy policy because the FTC is doing all these horrible things to people's websites, and they're shutting them down. They're shutting down businesses. I mean, it was a big scare where Facebook and Google were concerned. And then I thought, wait a minute, send me that information. It was a marketing tactic. It was a
Yeah.
marketing tactic for some updates that happened 8 months ago. And this was stuff that this particular marketer had decided to put out today. And you know, again, it doesn't. That kind of stuff doesn't float my boat. In fact, it kind of pisses me off. But if you buy into that stuff and you like it, and believe me, a lot of people buy into the you know, right-wing conspiracy or left-wing conspiracy or whatever it is that you know, you want to buy into, you fear, go for it. Go for it. That's really not what we're about.
Mm-hmm.
We're about being who we are, about our integrity, about going with the flow, and having this conversational style that I think works quite well.
Yes, it does.
For us, it
I,
does anyway.
yeah, well, and I was telling you a story about this. This last week, I had an opportunity to go and sit and talk with Don Tolman. And the man totally reordered my world.
Tell us, who is Don Tolman?
Don Tolman is a gentleman who is the original Whole Foods organic lifestyle, honoring the temple, which is our body, making sure organic.
Oh, he wasn't the founder of
No,
Whole
no,
Foods.
no,
Oh.
no, no.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, no, and that there's, yeah, more, anyway, that's a whole nother area.
Bad joke.
But now he was a gentleman that I actually got to hear speak for the first time in Australia. When I went over to
Oh.
Australia,
Mhm.
I left the day I did specifically to be able to hear him speak.
Wow.
And got to sit down with him and his group in Australia and have a conversation over a beer in the bar, which was fun. But this time we actually went to his place. We went to Park City, Utah, and we were there for 5 days and got to just sit down and share. You know, this is my path, this is my journey. What do you do about this? How do you feel about this? How can we help with this kind of conversation? And I was telling you before that I went in there with a list of very specific questions.
I remember that. Yeah.
Very specific. How do you do this? How do you do this? I've been a vegetarian for this many years, and yet I'm still having problems with this. What do you do with this?
Mm.
And we got in there and started talking, and my list just kind of poof away. We were talking. He was sharing about adventures and his learnings, and all of those, all without exception, all of those things triggered memories within me, learnings within me, things that I had learned years ago, and I didn't see how they all fit, so I put them back on the shelf. And in this conversation, all of those things came off the bookshelf, and I've been spending the last few days trying to go, okay, that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there, that one there, and the picture is amazing. Had I stuck to my list of questions, I would have missed all of that.
Yeah.
So I still have a couple of questions on my list, but I've got a bigger picture now.
Yeah.
The answers are in that picture. Now I get to go find them. There's so much about our conversation style that is very much the same way, because people can relate to us with their own journey, and it allows them, in what we create, Michaela, in this sacred space, of being able to see their own journey. And how does that play into a bigger picture for them? Do we offer something that will help them with their bigger picture? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, very fascinating.
It reminds me just a few weeks ago of a story that they shared right here about a friend of mine who said to me, gosh, you're always telling stories, and it used to really drive me crazy, but when we get to the end of the story, I realize that you've triggered something within me that I needed to hear.
Exactly.
And it reminded me of something, and that is something that happens often with this kind of style that we use.
Yeah, because we're not really teaching.
Right.
We're sharing, and we're triggering. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great, sometimes it's painful, and that's okay. Because in that triggering, you realize, oh shit, I got to work on that now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Leading up to this trip to Utah, I realized that, oh boy, how's this for going? I realized that I was going to have to start fasting. And I have resisted it my entire life. I've known I've needed to do this for years.
Oh, wow. I used to do it all the time when I was younger. It's recently I've been resisting it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. And I knew that I was going to have to start. And, oh, man, all sorts of resistance and arguments and kerfuffle came up. And with meeting with Don and talking with him and understanding more about the nudges that I've been given, the information that I've been suppressing, the truth that I haven't been sharing with myself,
wow,
or with others, and the being called to, okay, you've played around with it for a long time. Now, either shit or get off the pot. It's time. You need to stop pretending, and if you believe this, if you want this, go, take it. To take it, this is what you need to do. It's like, oh, shit! Ah!
Gosh, you know what? It's really funny because I just got finished talking about how I couldn't stand fear tactics and stuff. But the thing is, sometimes fear tactics actually work for us. And you just reminded me of something that happened to me. Oh, we're talking 20 years ago now, longer than 20 years ago. It was my first trip to India. And I had planned to stay a month, and I was going all alone. And my biggest fear was not traveling alone, but my biggest fear was whether or not I was going to get sick. Because every 100% of the travelers that I had met that had gone to India had gotten sick. So I did some meditation. I met with a spiritual advisor, and the suggestion was 5 weeks before you go, do a 5-day fast. And I'm like, what? 5-day fast? I know. Do a 5-day fast and then go completely vegetarian, vegan if you can, from there through the trip, the end of the trip and beyond the trip. Well,
Yes.
that was really hard for me because at that time I wasn't necessarily vegetarian or vegan, but I didn't eat very much meat to begin with. So that was a pretty easy thing to do. The whole idea was that meat festers in your system and takes a long time to go through. And if it sits there for 2 or 3 or 4 days, that is a breeding ground for bacteria and things. And those are the kind of things that make you sick. And
Yeah.
then I had specific information. I don't eat don't eat skins of fruit, and eat everything. Eat all your vegetables cooked. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can follow that. And you know what? I was so worried about what would happen if I didn't do it that I ended up doing it because I want that clarity. So sometimes, if you're having trouble beginning something, going on a road, ask yourself the converse question. What is it that will happen if I don't do this?
Yes. How badly is yes?
Mm-hmm.
How badly do I want what's on the other side of it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't I don't have words to accurately explain how badly I want what's on the other side of that.
Yeah. I
So,
understand. Yeah.
yeah. So now it's just reconciling the last little bits
Mm-hmm.
and choosing when. Now I have the parameters of when. I know how long it needs to be. I know what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. I know when it needs to start. Now I just need to choose which time frame that starting period is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I can feel
Some,
the
and
excitement now.
sometimes it's just about showing up. And, you know, like today, showing up today. Jennifer, I got to tell you, you kicked me in my ass because I almost didn't show up today. But it had a lot, and it was a lot of those yeah buts and everything else. But you know what? The one thing that has really got me going is these morning pages. And I think that every single week, I'm going to mention those morning pages and just talk about how really important they are. We have spent the last 10 weeks talking about blasting through belief systems that hold us back. And now we're kind of sitting on deck here, waiting. We're about to launch the next 10-week series, which is the precepts of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
There are definite laws of creativity. There are laws about how to recognize it, how to focus on it. If I may just take this moment right now and talk a little bit about creativity. Creativity is a really tough word that is very complicated because we make it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity itself is not complicated at all. But the word itself, we have such difficulty with it that many different people translate it in a different way. In fact, you can even go to Wikipedia, and they start off by saying creativity is a phenomenon. You know what? Do farmers think that a germinated seed is a phenomenon? Do they sit there and sit right down in the field and stare at that seedling that's coming up through the ground and go, wow, how does it do that? I don't know how it doesn't know. You accept creativity. That is creativity. We are a creative force, which is what we are going to be beginning with.
Yes. I'm sorry, I was looking at my 1930s dictionary, seeing what the
Oh yeah, what did
etymology.
it say? What did they say?
Okay, so we're in
And the
create.
etymology. Oh, I love this stuff. Yes, I always do this stuff. I can't believe I didn't do it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Sure. Well, we've got create, creation, creational, creationism, creationist, creative, having the quality or power of creating.
Oh, don't you love those dictionaries that use the same word to
Yes.
describe the word?
Well, yes, and because create has its own block of definition.
Mm.
So you actually, it's a
Interesting.
two-step process. You have to read what create is
Mm,
and then apply it to an action. One who has the ability and practices the art of create. So what
mm.
does create? Okay, bring into being,
Bring
cause,
into being. I like that.
cause to exist,
Mm-hmm.
produce, specifically to evolve from one's own thought or imagination. Also, to be the first to represent a part or role. Also, to make by investing with new character or functions, as to create appear, constitute, appoint. Also, to be the cause or occasion of, to give rise to create something. The act of creating or the act of being created. The original bringing into existence of the universe by the deity, that which is created, the world or universe. Very cool. So the base word to bring into being.
That's fascinating. The strange thing about our society these days, and it's been going on for a few decades now, is that that word creativity has been kind of forced, it's been pigeonholed into labeling people who are artists or musicians that create some sort of original work. And that is the only place it's used. It's very interesting. At a holiday, I said to one of my sister-in-laws, she has a business with decorating and interior decoration, and she has a fine eye, and she puts things together that just look so beautiful. And I said to her, you know, you're very creative. You've got an artistic style. And she's like, I'm not creative. And she was so adamant against the word creative being applied to her and how that word creative should be used. It made me realize that within this introduction, I'd like to talk about that a little bit, about how we latch on, when we latch on to things outside ourselves, and we talked about that a whole last 10 weeks of blasting through belief systems. We attach ourselves to things that are outside ourselves, even if it's a definition of a word. It's something that we do. But bringing it back, and when we allow ourselves to clear that away, we must realize, in order to move forward, that this is a world of creativity.
Yes.
We are, every single person and thing that exists, even if it's a rock, has come from a creative flow, has happened because of a creative force.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that creative force.
Yes. Now, there's one thing that I'd like to add, if you don't mind.
Please do.
Sometimes we latch onto a definition of a word, and sometimes we latch onto a definition of ourselves.
Oh, yes.
And if we have taken on someone else's label of ourselves as being not creative, or you're creative, and it has caused us conflict, we have to be willing to let go of that definition of ourselves to be able to truly embrace who we are. Not who we label ourselves as or what other people see us as, but who we are. And it just goes back to what we've been talking about before, what we will talk about in the future, what is the cornerstone belief of the Academy of Holistic Healing. It's who we are at our core, regardless of the labels or the belief systems, because all of that is changeable until you get to the core essence of who you are. My 2 cents worth.
I am, by the way, you see this? You see this number 1? Can you read that number 1? I'm writing it as we speak. You can see it's a big blank right there.
Yeah.
But I'm writing the precept down as we speak. And
Very
I'm going
cool.
to show it to you.
Okay. What I read was number one, our world is.
Can you finish it? Can you finish it? I'm going to play teacher here and ask you all. I'm not asking you for your own definition or your own whatever. You can do that if you want. You can do that. Don't let me hold you back from doing that. But this is a precept. This is a law. This is a law of our world that we live in.
Okay.
Our world is, or our world has. Our world is governed by a creative force, by a divine force. Our world has, running through every molecule, every fiber of its being, has the creative force that has brought it into existence where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that is really what the first precept is all about, is recognizing that we all are made from that creative force. We came from a creative force. Everything that we do, even this conversation, you wake up in the morning and start having a conversation with somebody, that's creative. You're creating something that was not there before.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so have you read the book Entangled Minds by Dr. Dean Radin, R-A-D-I-N? It is about that very thing, and I'm looking on my bookcase if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm looking on one of my bookcases.
I'm writing it down, Entangled Minds. I never heard of it before.
Oh my gosh. It talks about different studies of the brain and various, and I apologize for stumbling all over myself. I'm trying to recall the exact wording that was used. Probability machines. And noticing what the rate of probability was random, and then having test subjects focus on one answer or another and checking to see if the machine would react to their thought processes. Meaning having the test subject focus on the number 3 in the room with this random number generator, okay? Programmed to randomly choose numbers. We have a test subject in the room thinking about a specific number. The test results show that the odds are like 1 in a billion that the machine would choose the same number or within like 1 or 2 of that number of the test subject, as opposed to when there's not a test subject there and it just randomly chooses numbers. The fact that they have proven that what we focus on actually directly affects the world that we live in. And it's a fabulous book, and I am not doing it justice. It is a great book with scientific backing for those that need it, that show tests showing how much our thoughts, beliefs, and expectations directly influence and bring into reality our world.
Well, that's what makes this a law. That's what makes this a code, a principle, because a lot of people are turned off by talking about religion or spirituality, or they need scientific proof, or they're ensconced within their own religious community and system that that's what the safety net is. But it doesn't matter if you believe or not. This is a law.
Right.
It doesn't matter at all. So once you have just accepted and let go of whether or not it's true or not, because it doesn't matter what you believe, it is true. That right there will set you on that path toward creating what your goal is, what it is, and uncovering what it is you want to create.
Yeah.
Even if it's a really, really nice bubble bath later on in the day.
Oh, what a fabulous creation.
Yes.
Yeah. Throw in some Epsom salts and you can help detox your body while you're at it.
Some fresh ginger in there, and good stuff.
Yes.
All right, I finished writing this. I don't know if you can read it. Can you read that? Is it too close? Is it too far? Let me see.
Keep talking so it shows up.
Keep what?
There you go.
There
Oh,
we
you
go.
have to talk, because
I'll
otherwise
keep
it
talking.
goes away.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I've got number one. Number one. This is the number one of the 10 precepts of creativity. And the first one is the creative force. It is, our world is governed by the creative force. The creative force permeates every fiber of us and our universe. Everything is creative energy. Everything is creative energy.
Yay.
So, number one, there it is.
Excellent. So I would ask if you wouldn't mind to uh, like start a page that has what the creative precepts are.
Yes, let me tell you what I'm going to have. Right below this, after this is done and published, we will soon be adding a worksheet for this one and for each one. It will include an introduction with those 10 precepts, so you'll be able to look at them and know what they are.
Fabulous.
And every single week there will be a worksheet that will have the precept set, expressed, maybe a little bit of information about it, and then questions or triggers, things that will help you to spark that stuff within you. And this one is actually very simple. The creative force. You know, people how many times do you hear people say, and I'm sure that I've said it before, or maybe, many of us have said it before, oh, I'm not creative, or I'm not creative enough, or I wish I was more creative, and everything else. Which is, that's dissing who we are.
Yes.
That's exactly dissing who we are. So we need to be able to clear that stuff out. It's about clearing the cup. You cannot drink a full cup of water if it's loaded with old tea. You can't, if you look at the farmer, what does the farmer do? The first step toward creating a harvest is tilling the ground. And if you do not till that ground, it's going to, your seed's going to fall on rocks, it's going to fall among weeds, and if you're trying to throw stuff out there, and remember when I got you about ripping the flowers out to make them grow faster?
Yes.
It's the same thing. I can't believe how many people, and trust me, I was there and I did it too. It's like, wow, if I just press this button, that button, that button, all of a sudden I'm going to make a lot of money. All I have to do is spend $200 and it's going to turn into $2,000. Yes, there's a creative force, but we have to be logical about it, and we have to put one step in front of the other. You just don't. A farmer just goes, you mean I could get a whole crop out of this one seed, and all I have to do is throw it in the yard? Well, he's not going to throw it in the yard on the lawn and just stare at it and and see that it fell on a rock or something. You've got to prepare the way. Yes. And that's one of the things that these morning pages help do. They help to prepare the way. They help to clear the mind, to focus the mind. Finding chants, for example, and it can be any kind of a chant. It can be your own mantra. I have a friend who started her own business called I Am Tra, and all of the mantras you can write them. They're on coffee cups. They're on her tea boxes. They're on all sorts of things. It's I am whatever it is. I am creative. I am free. I am passionate, and it's a very positive statement. Personally, I like to use Sanskrit. I am very much a linguist, and I use a lot of Sanskrit. A very simple one, Om. Om is a very basic sound, and that clears the energy for me. It's a very basic creative sound. You don't have to believe in Om. You don't have to believe in what it means. You don't have to believe in what any mantra means, as long as you trust that the mantra you choose, even if it's hey, Jesus loves me, Allah is with me, God is here, whatever it may be within your own within your own religion, in your own spiritual beliefs, or even if it's just plain you don't believe in anything, but you're just using it
I
to
am.
clarify. I am. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yes.
absolutely. Trust
It,
is such a huge one.
it works. And so if you say it doesn't work, it means you haven't tried
Yep.
it.
And that there is some trust issues that you may want to take a look at.
Yes. Yes.
And what I am finding is how much of it all boils down to not being able to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, we tend to project it out when
Mm.
it's actually a viewpoint that we have towards ourselves.
Yes.
And yeah, big one there. And
I
you keep,
I have a
I was going to say, you just keep peeling layers off of it and layers off of it.
Shrek.
Yes. Oh, I love onions. Can't stand parfait. Too sicky sweet. Yeah, anyway.
I'd like to share a quick story with you. I have been watching this series that Herbie Hancock is doing with Harvard University. It's for the jazz. It's for the music department, and it's a jazz series on how to create your own jazz and things. But he goes so much deeper than that. Somebody had asked him, well, how do I get really better at jazz? How do I do this particular kind of thing? And he said, get better at your life. His
Perfect.
friend, he and his friends were supposed to perform. This is way back, back in the 70s. They were going to give a performance, and they had been together and playing together all day long, and they were really tired by the time they got to this event, and they did not want to go on stage, and they knew that they had to, and they were a little bit worried about what they were going to produce, about whether or not it was going to be good. And they got out there, and I can't remember the name of the musician that was playing with him in the group, but within the first 30 seconds, this guy started creating music out of his guitar that nobody had ever heard before, that he had never played before, and it was just divine. And it was a song that they had led with that they didn't even think would get a whole lot of attention from anybody. They're like, what are we even opening with a song for? But they opened with it, and it was such a powerful outpouring of creative beauty that at the end of the concert, Herbie said to his friend, where the hell did that come from? And he said, I was chanting. He said, right up until we got on stage, I was chanting to myself, and I had asked for inspiration. So when you can trust that, number one, that everything is creative energy, and you can completely trust, I'm not asking you for blind faith here. That's the difference between religions and what we're talking about. Because many religions will ask you for blind faith, and because they get a little bit nervous about talking about that, except for maybe it's a mystery and we have to have blind faith. You know what? You don't even have to have faith. All you have to do is do it. Because you don't have to have faith that you're going to have a buff arm if you do push-ups every day. Mm-hmm. Just do the push-ups and you'll see those muscles starting to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started on this whole trusting of my own creative path 30 years ago, because I could not make sense of the religious group that I was brought up in. I was brought up a staunch Irish Catholic, very, very, going to school every day. I went to a Catholic college, all that stuff. And I tried my best, but it just didn't make sense to me. I said, with everything in the world, in order to get good at something, you need to practice it. And if you practice it, you get good at it. What is it that I can practice that I can really tap into that spiritual creative self that I am so longing for?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started my chanting and my meditation. We're talking 25, 30 years ago now.
Wow.
And
Very good.
that's, I'm kind of babbling now, so there.
Oh, no, 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 no,
Oh.
no. Oh, no. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't, no, no, no. No.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, for what started out as an interesting morning is turning out to be quite an information-filled hangout. So I hope you guys have been listening to the amount of wisdom that's been coming out of Michaela's mouth today. And really,
And out of Jennifer's mouth today, too.
well,
Yes.
this is going to be a really
What happened?
fascinating next 10 weeks with the creativity precepts and getting to a point of understanding there's a difference between being creative and being artistic.
Yes.
Everybody's creative. Not everybody's artistic. And it also depends on what your definition of each and every single solitary word that you use, because your definition will be different than anybody else. So even though we may say a word and you may react to it, take a look at what we define the word as, and your definition may be different. So just some interesting little tidbits for going forward. Michaela, did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on? Because I am feeling things.
I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. You know, when you are wondering whether or not, when you're looking for signs, they will come to you, and sometimes they are the most subtle sign to tell you you are in alignment. Like, I've been sitting here looking at the screen and watching Jennifer this entire time and realizing, Jennifer, are you wearing a pink t-shirt?
Yes, you just realized that we're both in pink.
I realized it from the get-go because I almost changed my t-shirt, and I got a very strong feeling not to change it, and I realized that this is showing that we are in alignment, was a nice little pat on the back from Spirit, from me.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So I hope you all can join us and of course these are all recorded. We welcome questions. We welcome comments and feedback.
Yes.
My website is right down below here, startingmyownbusiness.org. It's not just about starting a business. If you feel that you are struggling with the business you have right now and you need insights, if you feel that you are you may want to start a business, but you're not sure if you can or know how to. My website, my membership site is loaded, packed full with all sorts of information that can be catered to your needs. And really the only need that we have is to remind ourselves to go to the heart. And to use this instrument that we have, that we all have, which is work.
Yep, very good. And sorry, that is my youngest son comes home today, and so he's been called. This is like the third time he's called me, so I'll have to call him back in a few minutes.
Yes. Well, I see a very quiet parrot today, so this is fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, there was one thing that I do want to mention before we actually end it all. You had mentioned something that was really great, and I want to invite everybody to go over to the academyofholistichealing.com, and in there you're going to find different blog posts under each section, and they will take you to an explanation of what the topic is, ask you some questions, and it'll give you some ways to integrate that idea into your life. And it's not just well, this is what I think about this, or this is what this topic is. There are actually some thought-provoking questions, some exercises to go through. And within the 3 levels, we have the inquiring minds, we have the seekers, and we have the veterans. Each one will take you a little bit deeper. Each section addresses the needs of where you're at, whether you're just looking, whether you've been following your own path for a while and you're looking to fine-tune it, or you are either a veteran of the armed services or you are a veteran and you're doing your own work, because in that section we go really, really, really deep. Um, and
Awesome.
all the, yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
really very fabulous the way that it's all coming together. And these are things that you get to self-guide, and all the information at this point is all free. And so I would encourage people to go in and take a look, and when they're ready to start really doing their own work, there are ways to start doing it for free. There are suggestions, just like the information that you and I give on these Hangouts. It continues on the Academy's website as well. So my invitation to everybody to come
Awesome.
check it out.
Awesome. Great stuff, I know.
Yeah. Alrighty, so I think we are done. I look forward to that document because I know that this is going to be a great hand-in-hand with where we've come from and where we're going to, and I'm excited to see how this all plays out and the feedback from people on how it's opening their eyes and their possibilities. So thank you, Michaela, for
Thank
being
you, Jennifer.
so excited and stepping into this next space, and I'm really looking forward to it. So it should be great.
Me too. So excited.
Yay.
Thanks so much. Namaste.
All
Aloha.
right. Bye.
Bye.